Hey guys, welcome to Monday's Mindset and Manifestation. Nikki Gangemi here, and we're talking about getting a quick mental boost. So who could use a quick mental boost? Maybe you're just feeling a little bit of being stuck, a little bit of unsure, kind of blah or whatever. But the thing is, and this is a great thing, you are in charge of how you feel. And you don't have to wait for some outside thing to make you feel better. You can feel better now, and it has to do with one thing and one thing only. And I'm going to tell you what that is, but in the meantime, for those of you who don't know me, I am Nikki Gangemi, your transformational coach, and I help you reprogram your mind for success. So today is Monday, and sometimes Mondays could be a little hard, right? A little hard to get started. Whatever it is. Maybe you want to start your day by working out or going out for a walk or whatever it is, but you just kind of don't feel that motivation. And that's the thing about motivation. It is hard if we just rely on being motivated versus inspired, and it's completely different. When we need motivation, we're often relying on something outside of us to make us feel good. And I'm going to give you an example. I was talking with one of my friends, I think it was last weekend, and she had, before this whole virus came about, she had put a down payment on a house down the shore at the beach. And she was worried that she wouldn't be able to use the house because the beaches are closed, right? So she's been worrying about that. And then I got a text this morning that she receives an email from the homeowner that, dear guests, good news that you're going to be able to rent the house, the beaches are going to be open, and, read on for these provisions for how we're going to do things a little differently this summer. And she texted that she was so excited, what great news to wake up to. And yes, that is wonderful news to wake up to, but it got me thinking, what if we could just wake up and feel good on our own? That we don't need to read the email that has the good news, because that kind of takes away your power, and that makes you needing something outside of you to feel better. And what if you don't get that? What if that news doesn't come that you're waiting for? And then you're left hanging in the meantime, and what do? So what I want to talk to you today is a quick little game that you could play, and it comes from the book, Ask and It Is Given. It is Learning to Manifest Your Desires. I absolutely love this book. It's The Teachings of Abraham by Jerry and Esther Hicks, and it's got a bunch of games or processes that you can do to make you feel better. Why do we care about feeling better? You might be wondering, Nikki, why are you always talking about, my emotions and how I feel and my thoughts? Because it's everything. That's why. It's everything. How you feel is your point of attraction. Everything is vibration. Einstein said that. He proved that so long ago. Everything is vibration, right? So you attract, it's law of attraction, you attract that which is like onto you. So whatever you put out there, that is what you get back. And we know the classic example of the radio. Whatever station you tune into, if you're listening to 95.5 or Z100 or whatever the popular radio station is where you live, that is what you're going to hear. You don't turn on rock music and expect to hear easy listening. You just never would think that, because that's not what you're dialed into. That's not what you're tuned into. So you want to pay attention to how you feel, because you attract with how you feel. And when you feel like crap, when you're feeling doubtful or frustrated or stuck or angry or whatever it is, it just means that you are not focused on what you want. You're focused on the lack. So why not, if you're in charge of your thoughts and you get to choose what you think, which determines how you feel, which determines your point of attraction, Why not think the thoughts that you want to think right now? Where we make a mistake, this is the biggest mistake. And you know what? I still make it because I'm human too. And I have to remind myself. But the biggest mistake, ready for this? It's going to sound so simple. The biggest mistake that people make is that they look at the way things are right now and they don't like what they see. For example, you step on the scale and you don't like the number that appears on the scale. You open up your phone. I was going to grab my phone, but I'm on my phone. You open up your phone and you look at your online banking. You don't like the amount that's in your bank account, and that affects how you feel. We tend to look at the way things are. You look at, maybe you don't have the number of clients you want or the whatever it is. You look at the way it is right now and you don't like it, and that's where we tend to get stuck. That's where we tend to keep our attention, which causes us to feel not good. And that feeling, that's our vibrational point of attraction. So that's what we're vibrating at. We're going to attract more things to cause us to feel that doubt, more things that cause us to feel that frustration. So it's really hard. I know, because guess what? We've got these 5 senses. We don't really use our 6th sense, most of us, but we have these 5 senses, and we experience our world through what we see, what we hear, taste, touch, feel. And that's what we keep our focus on. But what I'm asking you to do, what I'm offering, is that you start to see things the way you want them to see. You start to imagine what you want. And guess what? We are already imagining. We're already doing it. What people tend to do is they imagine the worst case scenario and they get into worry. And when you start worrying, you're just bringing into your experience everything that you don't want. So why not flip it? And if you're going to imagine, you might as well imagine in a way that's going to benefit you. Instead of imagining the worst or what you don't want, why not just start imagining what you do want? Because you can do it. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So you might as well, just like when you were a kid and you would be sitting in class and it was boring and you'd look out the window and you would just imagine and fantasize about whatever you wanted to, and you'd be sitting there with a smile on your face, Start imagining now. We get to still do that. So instead of looking at what's going on right now that you're not happy with and that you don't like, start to think about what it is that you do want. And a quick process that you can do, and this comes from the book, Ask and It Is Given, it's which thought feels better. That's a game, because like I said, you normally don't notice the thoughts that you're thinking. We tend to not be we tend to not care what we're thinking about, okay? But we do tend to notice how we feel. Maybe not right away, but eventually we start to notice that we just feel a certain way that we don't like. And you can always trace that feeling back to the thoughts that you're having. So this game that Abraham offers is which thought feels better. So what you do is you get a piece of paper and a pen, and I highly recommend that you write this down. I've tried playing this game in my head, but the problem with that is we have so many tens of thousands of thoughts a day that we end up just getting distracted, and before you know it, we're thinking about something else. So it's best to be intentional about it. Sit down. This could be like your little brain break from work or whatever you're doing. Get out a piece of paper and a pen, doesn't have to be fancy, and write down the thoughts that you're thinking that are causing you to feel whatever way you don't want to feel, the frustration or the discouragement or whatever it is. Write those thoughts down, and then what you want to do is you want to think, what thought feels better? And write down the first thing that comes to mind. And then ask yourself, does this thought make me feel better? Does this thought make me feel worse? Or do I feel the same? And start coming up with more and more thoughts that make you feel better. There's an example in the book, and I'll just use this example in the book. They give the story of a woman who had an argument with her daughter because she makes no effort to keep the house clean. So she doesn't take care of her personal things. Her room is a mess. She has no regard or makes no effort to make their environment nice and orderly. So the mom is annoyed. She's frustrated. So she writes down on the paper, "My daughter tries to make my life difficult. She doesn't care about me at all. She doesn't even come close to doing her share of the work." How would that make anybody feel? That's going to aggravate you. It's going to frustrate you, right? It's certainly not going to make you feel good. And instead of keeping your attention on it, what you want to start doing is coming up with thoughts that are going to make you feel a little bit better, right? So then she writes down on a sheet of paper, "She never listens to me." Does that thought make her feel better? No, it makes her feel the same. So she writes down the word "same" in parentheses. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to keep coming up with thoughts, and you're going to decide, you're going to determine, does this thought make me feel better? Does it make me feel the same? Does it make me feel worse? And all your goal is to do is to keep reaching for thoughts that feel better and writing them down. So then she continues and she writes, "I want her to be more responsible." Well, that just makes her feel the same. "I shouldn't have to pick up after her." What do you think? Same, worse, better? That makes her feel the same. "I should have taught her better." Well, now that makes her feel worse about her parenting, right? "A clean house is important to me." Well, that makes me feel better. "I know she has a lot on her mind." That's a better feeling thought. "I remember what it's like to be a teenager." Better feeling thought. And then she continues to go on and on. "I remember when she was a sweet little girl." That makes her feel better. And then you just keep going on, and before you know it, you're going to start to feel better. And why is that important? Because you are attracting with how you feel. So you want to start feeling better so you can start attracting more of what you want. So this is a simple game that you can do. I love to play this game too. And then what I do, this is a little extra thing you can do. I have this notebook, and it's got elephants on it only because it's my favorite animal in the world. I love elephants. And what I do is I take all of the thoughts that I wrote down that feel better, and I write them in this notebook. Because guess what? Our brain just works by habit. So when we're always thinking these thoughts that don't make us feel good, it's just a habit. It's got nothing to do with that there's something wrong with you, or that you're not good enough, or you don't deserve something, you know, that story that we tend to tell ourselves. It's got nothing to do with that. It simply is a pattern, a habit of thought that you want to change. So I take all of those better feeling thoughts, and you can do the same when you play this game. And if you play the game, let me know that you do, because I want to know if it helps you. And I take all those thoughts that I labeled as better, and I write them. I write them in this little journal that I love, and then I look at it. I just look at it whenever I'm feeling a little discouraged or a little doubtful or a little overwhelmed or whatever. And it just helps me to practice these new thoughts, which improves how I feel, and then it changes my point of attraction. So it's easy for you to boost your mood, and the message here is you don't have to wait to receive an email or to receive a message from somebody that gives you good news. You can create your own good news. You have the power to do that whenever you want. So it's a quick mental boost that you could do, aside from going outside and going for a walk or working out or anything like that. But even that, I mean, think about it. Whether you work out or not, what determines that? How you feel. Whether you get up as soon as your alarm goes off, or you lay in bed for another 15, 20, 30 minutes and hit snooze, what determines that? It's how you feel. Everything is determined how you feel. So anytime you notice that you're not feeling up to par, paper and pen, put thought to paper, write it down, Get it out there, out of your mind, so it stops renting space in your mind. You put it on paper, and then you start coming up with what thought feels better. And then you can take all those better feeling thoughts, you can put them in one place so that you have them to read again and again to boost your mood. And that makes you in control. That puts you in the driver's seat. And you get to be the deliberate creator of your life. So I hope that this game was helpful to you. Again, the book, if you're interested in getting it, it is very much worth it. Ask and it is given. Learning to manifest your desires. It's got a bunch of processes and games in here to help you to change your vibrational point of attraction. We live in an attraction-based universe. You attract everything to you. So start attracting what you want. Have fun with this today, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you Thursday for Thrive in Your Mind Thursday. Bye for now.